Hello, and welcome to our podcast, Ephesians Verse by Verse, brought to you by co-founder of Telios, Dr. William Stewart. This captivating podcast will not only teach you the book of Ephesians, which tells us so much about Christ and his mission, as well as our Christian walk, but it will teach you how to study the Bible, so you can have confidence in what you learn. Episodes will provide key points for each important verse of the book of Ephesians. Thanks for joining us on this exciting biblical journey.
Hello, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Telios. Welcome back to our verse-by-verse study on the book of Ephesians. Such a great study. Tells us so much about Christ, salvation, and our Christian walk. We've just finished the first three chapters. The last time we reviewed and what we found in the first three chapters. So remembering that the first half of chapter 1, the characteristics of our great salvation. The second half of this chapter is Paul's first model prayer about what God wants us to have in our Christian life. Chapter 2 involves the first half, the details of how to become a Christian and who we were in our prior life. The second half discusses reconciliation, first between Jews and Gentiles, and then as Jews and Gentiles as one single person to God through Christ, finishing with the spiritual structure of the church. Chapter 3, then, the first half, is Paul's ministry, which involves the knowledge that the church should have, that he fills up, that Christ was not able to give while he was here on earth. The last half, then, is his second model prayer for what God would want us to have in our Christian life. So the first three chapters deal with elements of salvation, moving to who we are in the church and how we and its structure, both in a physical sense and knowledge-wise. So the last three chapters are the Christian life, how we live within the church. So in verse 1, which we're covering in this session, says in the King James, I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. So I here is Apostle Paul. He's the author. He is a prisoner. He's a literal prisoner. Perhaps there's controversy here. Perhaps he means he's a bond servant of, I shouldn't say bond servant, a prisoner of God. The word here is desmios, actually really meaning to be bound, as in chains, a real prisoner. But he was at this time under house arrest in Rome as he wrote this letter back to Ephesus. So he's a prisoner of the Lord. Otherwise, he's in chains because of his ministry, and he's asking that they walk worthy of the vocation which they were called. So as Christians, we're called to be Christians by God. When the word called is used in the New Testament, the word kleo in the original Greek, it is, though it's a general word for to call in secular Greek, in the context of the New Testament, it's calling from God to our salvation. When I say New Testament here, these are the letters to the churches by the apostles. So we have this great calling to our salvation by God, by his mercy, which we came to make this efficacious for our lives through our faith alone. So then by walking, which in the word here is peripateo in the Greek, it means our whole life and manner, how we live and how we speak and how we think, especially in the moral realm. So our manner of life should be consistent of the great calling that we have by God, otherwise his righteousness and his goals. So his first Christian life application to the Ephesians, based on those first three chapters all about salvation and the church, is to live a life worthy of God. Okay, great start to chapter 4. Glad you joined us. Please join us next time. We get really into a lovely passage here about the foundation of the church and the Christian life. Please join us next time. I'll look for you then.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Ephesians Verse by Verse. We hope you found Dr. Stewart's teachings both interesting and informative. Join us next time for another exciting episode in Ephesians. To listen to all episodes, please visit our website, teliosresearch.com. TELEIOSRESEARCH. Thank you.